this is the Orpig coming at you, and so I get a lot of questions about this, and unfortunately, or fortunately for you, I don't get embarrassed by a lot of things. So we're gonna go over penis size and weight loss, and what does that mean to you? Okay, so first, let me disappoint you fellas out there and say that when you lose weight, fat does not transfer to your penis. Okay, it's still the same size it always was. It doesn't change. It just fills with blood. It's basically just extra skin, and that fills in with blood. There's no fat there. It's not like women with your boobies. All right, it's no fat transferring there. You won't lose any of what you got, so don't worry about losing weight and thinking I'm going to lose some of that skin down there. You're not going to lose that, okay? So your penis stays the same size with weight loss. But you will get the appearance of having a bigger penis, okay? So I brought some visual aids. So here's the thing. You got Fat Damian, right? And you got the penis. Now, when you're fat and overweight, your belly comes out. And like I said, your penis doesn't get any bigger when you're fat. It doesn't get any bigger when you lose weight. But here's the thing. Your fat comes out over your penis, okay? And it covers up a lot of it. So now, here you are, even though you've got this, normal sized penis or however big you are, guys, okay? It's whatever. Whether, you're little bitty or you're average size, okay? The fat is basically going to start engulfing it, okay? So now, even though you've got this much to give to her, or to your hand, whichever one, Pamela or your wife, you can't give, or your boyfriend, new generation, you can't give it all, okay? Because the fat is coming over your willy, and he can't show. So now, instead, you only got like this much showing. But when you lose, okay, and also you have the appearance, all right? So here I am, a gigantic fat Damian, and then you've got this little bitty old snickerdoodle down here that's the penis. And, because Damian is so big, this penis looks even smaller because the fat is swallowing it up, all right? But, okay, this is where I was going. When you lose weight, or a lot of it, like I did, and you get to be little bitty, guess what? Now your snickerdoodle gets to stick fully out, and there's not so much fat or skin to engulf it and cover it all up, okay? So now you have the appearance of having a bigger snickerdoodle because you're smaller. So the comparison chart, when you got an elephant next to a quarter, it doesn't really look that big. But when you've got a softball next to a quarter, the quarter's not so bad, right? It's not so little bitty. It's the same principle. Next to something small, your willy's gonna look a lot bigger. So unfortunately, when you're overweight, when you're fat, and if you're not gifted with a large penis to begin with, it's gonna appear even smaller. And even if you do have a big penis, it could look so much more bigger if you actually lose weight. Okay, so the first and best thing is that while it won't increase your penis size, it will give you more to work with because more is going to be away from that fat. You can't just push fat out the way and use all of what God gave you, okay, or whoever created you. It doesn't work that way. But when you lose the weight, you will have more of your penis coming out and able to give it, all right? And it's going to have the appearance of it because you're a smaller individual. So by having that smaller individual, now this looks like a whole lot more than it did when it's, next to the elephant. So my plan for this was to do like maybe a question and answer, maybe put a couple of these videos out and like have my wife here with me. But unfortunately, she's not like me and she does get embarrassed by these things, okay? But I was able to quiz her a little bit on the kind of questions I figured y'all would want to know and ask about this. So I inquisited, posed my questions to her of what has changed with, come on, the elephant in the room, right? Sex. What has changed with sex since I've lost all this weight? Okay. Now, number one, I'm gonna tell you, I think this was my wife's nice way of trying to tell me to lose weight back when I was starting to get heavy, probably like when I was around 350 or 400. I mean, before I was like really, really big. She told me that sex was becoming uncomfortable. Now, I'm a guy. I love sex, right? So that was kind of a blow to me, was that sex was becoming uncomfortable to her. And the reason being is because, one, as an overweight individual, the only position that we could really do was missionary, all right? Guy on top. That's the only position that we could really do. And it's because even if I'm upright, she would have to spread her legs, like almost do a split. And my wife was not a gymnast. She was never a cheerleader or a gymnast. So that just ain't happening, all right? So sex was becoming uncomfortable because basically I'm forcing her into a split almost every single time because I'm so gigantic. So that wasn't too good. The next thing, so that's a bonus, right? Now that I'm back to losing weight, I mean, she can wrap her legs around me, okay? They can stay in a closed position, and I'm not forcing her into this medieval torture position of splitting her legs apart. So that's one. The other thing she told me is that I get better penetration now since losing my weight. And that goes back to having more of my little snickerdoodle being exposed, right? I don't have all that fat behind it to cover up. Probably half of my penis was covered up by fat, okay? So now instead of having that covered up and basically just having a head with a little bitty shaft, I get to use the full member of what I have. So that's more penetration. Is that good or bad? I don't know. Women are different, you know. The bottom line, look, guys, we're the only ones obsessed with penis size. Women, for the most part, okay, 95% of them really don't care about the size of your penis, all right? But you get more penetration. Is that good or bad? I don't know. It depends on the woman. You know, sometimes when you start getting too deep, it actually starts to hurt. And, you know, for us, it's hard for us not to put everything in there, especially in the heat of the moment and getting excited. You know, it's hard not to go all the way. So you would have to refrain yourself from using your full member. If you do become exposed, then you're gifted. So I get better penetration with my wife. Good or bad, she's indifferent. She just says, it's nice, but again, women aren't obsessed with penis size. We are. I guess she's saying that she could care less. I think she's more excited about being able to not have to do a split with her legs anymore than the penetration. But it's there, okay? So you do get more penetration. And if you get a girl who does like deep penetration, you want to be as thin as possible so that you can use as much of your member as possible. The other thing, she kind of touched on me having longer stamina, but I asked her, I was like, is that true? Because it feels like we go just as long as we did before. And she's like, yeah, you kind of do, but you don't get so out of breath. So my cardio is better, obviously, since I'm running, and even when I was just working out. So your cardio gets better. So you're not sounding like a great big fat guy on top of her. Either, a big giant plate of food just got in front of you and you got the heavy breathing, or you're getting some, and in which case you're... Okay, so she said better stamina, but she's kind of iffy on that. The other thing is not sweating. So I sweat a lot. Okay, you could probably see from my gym videos. That's just from lifting weights. All right, when I get done running, and I put a video out earlier. When I get done running, I look like I've jumped into a pool. All right, I'm soaked from head to bone with sweat. So I sweat very easily, but I know for a fact, like when I started running again, I started sweating like 2 minutes into my run. Now it takes me anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes before I actually start to feel myself perspire out my forehead. All right, so it takes me longer to build up a sweat. Now, I think some people might be into that. I don't know. I can tell you right now, my wife is disgusted by sweat. Okay, it's icky, it's sickening. And when you're doing a missionary, which is where you're both looking at each other, right? Hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? And sweat starts to come from your forehead first, and it goes onto your wife's face. She does not appreciate that very much, and it ruins the mood. And we laugh about it, and I apologize for it and everything, but it takes you out of that moment, okay? So being overweight, having overactive sweat glands, I sweated a lot anyway, but I sweated more easily when I was overweight. Now I've got it more under control. We still have long sessions, and sweat's going to happen, but it's not as quick to come up. But before it used to be a big orchestra to get ready for it, right? We had to turn on extra fans and everything, make sure everything was nice and cool. I couldn't have just come out the shower because my body's heated up from the water and it's already tending to sweat, or just haven't exercised or cut the grass. You get the idea, all right? So it was a bit production before, not anymore. No sweat. If your girl's into sweat, maybe she's into you being overweight. I don't know, but I think most girls probably they don't like the sweat. Or they definitely don't want it dripping into their face. So, and the other thing, and that brings that up, is not so much with the sweat, but the fact that when you lose weight, you're able to get into a lot more positions. So, like I said, before we were pretty much stuck with missionary. Before I got grossly overweight, we could have did doggy style, okay? Now, well, it's an open market, right? I can actually do the entire Karma Sutra book. I mean, we can do whatever position you want, because at the end of the day, when you get into, the most difficult would be a seated position when your stomach is the biggest and it hangs out over your snickerdoodle. It's completely covered up, and there's no pulling her close to have it exposed, to have enough to get penetration. There's no getting around that. So when you lose the weight and you're able to actually have your snickerdoodle exposed, no matter which position you're getting in, you get to do more positions in the bedroom, which leads to more excitement, which leads to better sex, which leads to, well, I'm not going to say a better marriage. I think we always had a good marriage, but my wife was able to see past, gigantic 500-pound Damian, and she's a sweetheart. But bottom line is that you'll have better sex and you'll be able to do more things with it, because you'll be able to get into more positions than you ever could when you're overweight. So that should be inspiration number one, guys. I mean, we're talking, more sex and sex in different positions. Like, yeah. I know my wife, she even offered to give me fellatio if I lost weight. If you lose this much weight, you get fellatio. But, maybe your girl's like into that. Mine's not. Oh, she's going to kill me if she sees this video. Anyway, this one's not going on Facebook and advertised to the world. So, those are the benefits to losing weight. It's going to greatly benefit your sex life. It's going to greatly benefit your partner. And, besides from you having a healthy life. There are other things that are going to change. Now, for me, I was grossly overweight. And I'm going to let you in on a secret that, now this is only for really, really overweight people, not regular, but it was starting to become a problem to wipe my butt after I pooped, okay? And that sucks, man. I used to have to lean up against the wall next to the bathroom to force my arm to get far enough behind me so that I could wipe my butt. Look, I'm a clean individual, okay? I know you get that stereotype that fat people are disgusting, they're overweight, and they don't clean themselves and stuff. No. That might be true for some people, but that's true for little bitty skinny pricks too that don't clean themselves, okay? That can apply to anybody, but for whatever reason, fat people get that stereotype that we're fat and disgusting. No. So I made sure it was done. If heaven forbid I really couldn't get it done, I'd jump in the shower and take a shower or something. But I'm just saying, like, this is one of those difficult things to do, and it's a shame, but it's just I accumulated so much fat around my midsection, and your arms don't get any longer, and I just couldn't reach all the way around. It's crazy. Now I overshoot my butthole. I start wiping my left cheek with my right hand, right? I'm so used to going far, and it's nice to not have to need assistance by pushing the wall to get my hand around behind me. And I can't, I've heard of bodybuilders who are so big that they can't do it. Of course, it's for different reasons, because their lats are so big, their back muscles, right? Hey, cool problem. But they actually have to go down between their legs. The thing with a fat person is I can't go between my legs because I got this big old belly that sticks out. They don't have that. They got six-pack abs. I got to come all the way around. So that's not a possibility. The only alternative would be they actually invented this thing that you attach toilet paper to and put a scoop to. That was like drawing the line. I was like, no, I'm never going to get that fat. And if I ever do get that fat, like, something drastic is going to have to happen, because I don't want to, that's almost like throwing in a towel. Like, okay, I'm just this fat, which I already threw in the towel once with having to special order my clothes from King Size Direct. Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I got so big, couldn't buy my clothes at Walmart, couldn't buy them at JCPenney's. I'd go out in town and see cool stuff. I couldn't buy it. I had to special order my clothes because I was so big. But I didn't need that wiper. I was close to needing it, and I finally had a wake-up call, and I lost my weight. So, you get to wipe your butt better. And then the last thing is that I snored a lot when I was overweight. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know why I snored. I guess my body, that was its way of saying that it was really struggling to get air into the body because there was so much fat, probably on my lungs maybe, because every night when I went to sleep, I mean, guys, I was over 500 pounds. I'm at 220 right now, okay? So I was over 300 pounds. That's 1.5 times of me. So that's like another me right now just sitting on my chest while I'm sleeping, trying to breathe. I guess. So I snored a lot, okay? And my my wife, I used to hate that. Sometimes I'd wake up and I guess I had a difficult night and she would be out of the bedroom and she would be asleep in the couch or in my daughter's room. And, I'd feel terrible. Like, why didn't you wake me up? I would come out into the living room and she'd be like, oh, I didn't want to bother you. You were actually sleeping or anything. So it helps with that, okay? It helps with your sleeping. It helps with your snoring. It helps you go to sleep. There's many a nights when I was overweight where I couldn't sleep. Either I had chest pains, which probably might have been a mild heart attack, I don't know, or anxiety. Whatever it was, I couldn't sleep a lot of times. I had so much energy. Sometimes it's because I ate, like I said, I used to eat like 2 or 3, 6 Snickers bars. Yes, 6 before I go to bed. So all that sugar would keep me awake. And what did I care? I was a gigantic fat guy. So getting on a better diet, doing the intermittent fasting, I cut my eating time, at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at the latest. I quit eating. By the time I go to bed, all my food's fully digested and I'm tired. I'm worn out from my day's activities. So that helped me to sleep. And that brings me to my last point. I thought I was done. But, okay, activities. Here's a good trick, all right? It's coming at the end of the video. So if you stopped it early because you're embarrassed, you miss out on this. Here's the great thing, all right? You will lose weight having sex. Now, I didn't pull up the numbers. I can't. It's very small what they say the calories you burn, right? I think if you reach orgasm, you burn about 30 calories or something. It's real small. Women too, orgasm 30 calories or whatever. Having sex, that all depends on how vigorous sex you have. You could burn anywhere from 100 calories to 5 calories. It just depends on how vigorous you are. But I'm going to tell you this. Here's the thing that they don't accommodate or take into calculation for is your heart rate going up. So your heart rate goes up when you have sex, all right? Either from just getting excited from seeing her naked or to just actually getting into the activity to actually reaching climax, all right? When you reach climax, your heart is pumping, okay? Maybe not as fast as running, but it's pumping faster than what it normally would. So that is burning calories. And guess what? When you're done, you're burning calories until your heart slows all the way back down. So that's still some extra time that you're burning calories. Now, we generally, some spontaneous stuff happens, but we generally have sex at night. I think most people do, right? We have sex at night. We're night creatures with that. When you have sex at night, a lot of times it's already after dinner. It's already after you've eaten all your food. So if you can suppress that urge to eat that chocolate or that food, because your body, after it does that, it wants to eat. Right? You got all the movies and everything, and it happens to us where after sex, the girl comes in back in from the kitchen with, the gallon of ice cream and some water, because you're thirsty, you're hungry, you just exerted yourself vigorously for this activity. You depleted a lot of your juices because now they're going into her or hers is coming out at you. You depleted a lot of that. Your body wants to replenish it, okay? If you can sustain that urge to eat and just drink some water, all right? Water's fine. Drink water, especially if you're doing intermittent fasting. Hey, it was after my time to eat. I could not eat. So I didn't eat. Whenever we had sex, I would wake up a pound lighter, and so would my wife. So would she. And I would remind her of that because she would get on the scale and she'd come out the bathroom. She'd be like, ooh, I lost another pound. I'd be like, we had sex last night. Sex, man. Sex. It's so awesome, right? Not only is it great and fun, but you're burning calories too. And if you can sustain that urge to want to eat something, especially sweet, because we want something sweet right after sex, right? We want those sugars to hurry up and replenish what we just lost in our body. If you can suppress that, you are going to lose weight, especially if you're doing intermittent fasting, all right? You're not going to burn this exorbitant amount of weight. And yeah, a couple of times it was a pound, but I'm sure it was more like a half a pound. She might have been at blah, 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 0.5, and then the next morning is like 0.9, instead. Whatever it is. But the fact is that it can absolutely help you with losing weight. So if you have a wife, if you have a girlfriend, you got a boyfriend, whatever, and you and him, y'all freak on, and he comes out the next day or she comes out the next day and says, "Oh, I just lost weight." Remind them you had sex last night. Don't forget to remind them. That way they associate that weight loss with the sex, which really does happen. All right, it really does happen. Associate that sex with the weight loss and remind them of that next time you want to get lucky. That's the Orpig for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a blast making it. I wish I would have had my wife just to watch her turn beet red as I mentioned a lot of that stuff that I did. If you got any questions, if you got future videos you want to see, or if you got stuff pertaining to this, I'll do a second one. If you got questions you want me to ask my wife, I will ask them. I'm not embarrassed, and I will get them out of her if there's anything you want to know. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.